Hi, Richard here on the 7th of December, being a Tuesday, and it's just a few seconds away from the announcement of the RBA with regard to interest rates, and the expectation is that they'll be left the same. But this is a live chart of the Aussie dollar. It's a 60-minute chart, and you can see that there's been some expectation for a rate rise, which would make it positive. You can see this blue line up here is parity, and indeed this current bar is the one that's waiting in anticipation for the rate rise to come through. In the event that there isn't a rate rise, one can only expect that that would be negative for the dollar. In other words, interest in overseas buyers of the Australian dollar would wane, and as a result they would be sellers as opposed to buyers. But you know, this is a very powerful move up we've had from the turn down here at 95.45 approximately. We're currently coming up to through this long-term resistance, and it powered through that and then pulled back, and it became support. You can effectively just put that trend line there. If we went back to the daily very quickly, you'd see what that trend line is. So it's long-term support all the way back to June this year, and the question was being asked was whether that support would become resistance. Well, clearly it wasn't. It was also the weekly reversal line. It powered through it, and it's charged up just below parity. It looks like that, you know, I doubt whether or not this announcement by the RBA, if it was in, well, it probably would test parity. It's so close to it now. It's currently trading at 98.95, so that's just over a cent, fractionally over a cent away from parity. But the announcement should have been through by now. As we go back to the 60-minute chart, it's actually pushing down, so perhaps it's come in and they've left it the same. That's not surprising in the event that that is the case. Certainly it charged up for a little while there this morning, but if the result is to the negative, then, as I say, that will see maybe a collapse in the dollar, certainly a fallback to this support line here before we get further lead from overseas markets. It's continuing to push down as we speak, so I would say that the result is in, and it's been left the same. It's a little bit hard to know exactly what the result is, because I don't have anything through. Oh yes, there it is. It's left exactly the same, so 4.75. So interest rates are on hold again, and we can see what's occurring there now. There's a slow sell-off of the dollar, and I would imagine that would extend to other currencies as well. So that's just a little bit of insightful view. You can see that here, this is down here, this market force is a new indicator that I've developed, and it's a very powerful trend indicator, and indeed on an hourly basis we had a positive sentiment for the market to move up, but you can see it's oscillating now into two solid reds. It's very clear when the market is selling off, the red bars, heavy red, are printed. When it's buying in, then these heavy green are printed. When there's indecision, as there is over here, we get a set of light bars, and then a fading up, a disappearing of the bottom trend, the downward trend, and then a solid print on the green to indicate that this is a long opportunity. So irrespective of the time frame, it's quite powerful, and interestingly enough, we can see that we've got two solid bars there at the moment. You can only rely on a bar that's printed the next hour. In other words, we are now 2:33 in the afternoon. We've got another half an hour of trading, which could see this movement do pretty much anything. It could in fact stay as a doji where it is now, little thin body with a long upper tail and bottom wick, or in fact it might continue to trade off and start that sell-off to take it down to around 98, or indeed it could push back up to 95. So there's so many variables there, but when you get these major events such as the RBA announcement, nothing's certain until the trends, and indeed if it does spike lows, stops get taken out, so that continues to increase the selling pressure. But here we can see that it is still oscillating between being uncertain as to whether this is downward pressure, and it measures internal relative strength. It looks back historically over 24 periods and takes the position that the moment that there is a trend change on a bar, rather than crossing two moving averages, it gives us this oscillator, which is actually a very accurate print. So we've got a bit more of a sell-off happening now, but we'll leave it there. It looks like we're going to sell a little bit later. Maybe I'll just pause this and come back in after we see what happens. It's now 10 minutes later and 2:43 on Tuesday, and we can see that the bulls appear to be winning out very slowly. The market force has given us a positive lead in terms of up swing, and even though it's wavering, I noticed that the SPY 200 is taken off quite considerably, and it looks like it's pushing up beyond the previous high at 4745, currently trading at 4731, so just a few points away from positive outcome there. And also the euro and the sterling have pushed up on the strength, so it'll be interesting to see what the dollar does. I have pretty much no doubt now that it's going to push up to test 95. Whether it goes much higher than this, I'm not sure, because this is a corrective pattern. We've come down in 5 and up what looks like it's going to be in 3, so that would suggest that it's an ABC, even if it takes out this high here. We can count it as a final wave 5, but correctional. But in the event that some other sort of good news comes out, then I would imagine that 99.5 will be taken out and we'll go off to 1. I'll pause here for another 10 minutes or so and we'll take another assessment. Okay, just saw the hour print and you can see it now working. Usually what happens on the change of the hour is that if the trend direction for example has been up, then you'll get a little bit of opposing downward action for a few minutes, which is exactly what's happening now. It's pushing back down, and then by about 4 or 5 minutes past, you'll just start to see the reversal in trend direction. That's if indeed it does reverse. This could continue to push down and be the start of that negative scenario. So a little bit unsure at the moment, but nevertheless it's indeed interesting to watch, because this bar here is a classic doji reversal bar, the last hourly bar, the one with the thin body and the long upper wick and tail, and they usually do trend pretty clearly amongst they usually do, where am I going here, I want a segment, they usually do trend quite clearly. So you can see here that this is the trend line, and in the event that this was broken, then that would push the channel further down. So well, obviously further down, but that's a flat 5 waves down, looks like a 3 wave up, and then we would begin a C wave down, which would test this 98, if indeed that's what's occurring. But well, we'll have to sign off there. It'd be, it would have been better to see a bit more reaction to this event. It's been pretty staid, I have to say. There's not a lot of opportunity inherent in this. We'll have to wait for the Asian session to kick in at about 5 p.m. this afternoon. That's in 2 hours time. It's currently 2 minutes past 3 in the afternoon on Tuesday, and we'll be looking to see whether they're going to drive the dollar higher towards that 95. And indeed you can see now that we're a couple of minutes past. We've had those first few minute negative, and now it's just starting to pick up ever so slightly and push up. But time will have to play out in order to tell. Okay, that's it. Thank you.